do first of all is just speak about the main important thing about radiation in everything that we do at 365, and that is to think clearly and live productively. If we have toxicity in us, whatever form it might be, we're going to not be able to operate at a maximum health level. So if I go to the next slide, what is radiation? There's two kinds. There's a healthy kind and an unhealthy kind. The healthy radiation is, for example, the cosmic background microwave radiation, which is falling down on us 24/7. And very positive. It actually charges our electromagnetic field. It's biological. It's what we need. It's the radiation that we need. So mustn't get confused. But there's, as I say, a healthy and an unhealthy one. The unhealthy radiation, we're talking about what we know, microwave radiation. So that would be actual microwave ovens. It would be a cell phone tower that is emitting a microwave radiation. I'll show you some examples of radiation wavelength from the previous lecture. Ultraviolet radiation, that will come from the sun, and as the ozone layer depletes, whatever the reason for that all is, more ultraviolet rays comes through, and that is going to burn our skin. So we get radiation burn in our skin, and I'm going to talk about that when we talk about the sauna as well just now. Electricity radiation, that would be any single plug with a lamp next to it, a base cell phone, a base telephone, a power drill, any electrical point and plug has a 1.5 meter radius of electrical field around it. And if you happen to fall in that field, for example, if your bed is behind you, there's a plug behind your bed, you will be sleeping in a 1.5 meter electromagnetic radiation field, which is the wrong spin to our normal biological body. So just think about it. Your cells are getting nuked the 6 to 8 hours that you sleep, and then the rest of the day when you're awake too. So electricity radiation is huge. We also get X-rays, gamma rays. I'll show you those in a moment, alpha and beta rays. And here we get all the megahertz, the power tools that I did speak about. So each one of these, if, for example, even a fridge will have an electromagnetic field. If you put your food into the fridge, you're going to get, the food will be nuked. It will be in the electromagnetic field. I don't like putting things in the fridge. I don't put my oils in the fridge. I definitely don't put the microbiome reset, because that's live living fermented organisms. They can't go in the fridge. It's too cold. So for me, I would rather not have stuff in the fridge. And then we've also got extra low frequency and extra low frequency radiation coming out of the cell phones, the computers. And then we have what we call a geopathic stress or a magnetic stress, particularly a water stress. So those also will have a magnetic radiation, which is contrary to life. It's not biological, and that can also impact hugely on the cell division of every cell, and then, of course, the tissue and the organs. So some people who can't get better, and many patients have come in, are actually living on geopathic stress lines, magnetic water lines. And so they're also getting drenched in unhealthy radiation 24/7. And often they can't get better, and they don't know why. And this is one of it. I have actually a patient right now with bone cancer that's metastasized to the lymph. And I told her to move long ago, more than a year ago, and she hasn't moved yet. So more than that we can't do. Okay, just to recap, we've got short and long wavelengths. So it's a longitudinal wave looking like that. This is a very high frequency, and this is a very low frequency. Both are damaging. We need the right one for humans. And here you can see 3, 6, and 12 megahertz. So as the hertz goes up, the wavelength gets shorter. All right, and we are sitting at around about 10. I'll show you here. So there is invisible light. There's the sun. This is healthy radiation. All right. And then to the right, we have ultraviolet rays, which is 10 to the -7. And then we start getting X-rays and gamma rays. So it's very, very, very short wavelength. They're very dangerous. We need this normal one, the normal sine wave here. that kind of megahertz radiation. And we'll get infrared, microwaves, and radio waves. So they're all these devices are going to be damaging to us. And if you want to go back and have a look on my YouTube channel, you'll find the radiation lecture that was given before this, and you can catch up on these slides. But just to remind us again, we've got non-ionizing and ionizing waves, and every single one of these appliances has a frequency. There's our ultraviolet rays as well. There's our X-rays and our other one. Let's have a look at the blood and see what happens under the microscope. So here we have healthy blood, and here we have unhealthy blood, very sticky, stuck together. The oxygen can't move. The food can't get transported to the cells. We start getting cell degeneration and low energy levels. And this is typically what happens also to the people in hospital that I was speaking about, but also people who are now being exposed to radiation, especially in the cities. So we really need to bring in the DMSO product. I'll talk about that in a moment. And Almost Gold and Cell Vitality oxygen products to come in and help us keep the blood thin. Other products, Trifala, a herbal product, 3 enzymes, also very good, also keeps the blood thin in conditions. But here you can see, and I've showed this one before, this is bright field and this is dark field. So these are clots. And this is happening in everyday people right now because of the intense radiation activity, plus all the toxicity that's around in the city. So the city people are getting mostly nuked. So why do you think with the current infection, everybody's so worried about the blood clots? Because they have them already, sadly to say. All right, and here, so how are we going to prevent this damage and toxicity? Well, we're going to look at a scalar wave protection, the piezo time crystal. We're going to have a look at a few nutrients that are going to help us, the role of paramagnetic rock dust, the role of infrared sauna, the role of earthing, if you don't mind. So firstly, and here I'm going to have to switch to another slide. I want to show you the effect of the piezoelectric time crystal. Absolutely amazing, absolutely astonishing. So this is the newest device that 365 Healthy by Choice is exclusively marketing. One of its kind. You're not going to find anything like this in the world today. Just want to get you a bit of a bigger picture. So the crystal's inside the locket. And this is a living crystal. It sets up a sustained scalar wave around us. A scalar wave is a torsion field. For example, imagine I was an apple and I had a vortex in the middle with a golden mean going down and another golden mean coming up and the scalar wave around me. That is a scalar wave. So it's not a linear wave. And that is what we aim to restore and realign every time we are working with somebody and working on healing them and restoring them to homeostasis and normal functioning. So this is what this time crystal does. Now, the effects of this time crystal, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to pull up another slide just to show you, because the results are absolutely phenomenal, as I was saying. Now, there, this is the one here that I'm bringing up now. And let's just, let me go back and share. All right. All right, so here we have the results after 2 weeks, which I showed last night as well. There's our crystal. So the radiation levels declined considerably. Here's all the megahertzes and things I was showing you, talking to you about earlier. I'm going to show you this enlarged in a moment. But for example, this person was in hypoadrenic, close to hypoadrenic shock, close to nervous breakdown. And the risk factor moved from 184 to 136, a considerable improvement. Closer to 100 is what we're aiming for. So this is the reactance of the body to certain stimuli from the QUEXED eductor devices. The adrenaline levels dropped right down, 184 to 161. The cortisol, the stress hormone, 132 to 128. Everything started realigning. So this scalar wave, this torsion scalar wave, sustained scalar wave, was throwing off negative aberrant forces and allowing the body to restore itself and realign and achieve homeostasis. Absolutely beautiful. Nobody did anything. They just wore this crystal. Inflammation right down. Pineal pituitary hypothalamus, 150 to 128. Even the emotional allergy to foods. So this was amazing. This was wow. And then the next slide on here is where you can actually see the values. The drop, considerable. The extra low frequency that I spoke about earlier, all the hertzes and the megahertzes. Look at all of this, right down. You know, including, you know, X-rays and gamma rays, alpha and beta rays. You know, so really impressive results. And I can really put that down to this piezoelectric crystal. So I'm absolutely delighted to be, you know, in the position to market this and bring it to everybody. So that's $545 now. That is a launch price. And I would suggest, if you really serious about your health. And this has got a battery in it that lasts for 300 years. So it's actually a living battery, and it's an heirloom piece. You can pass it on. And it's also not something that becomes totally attached to you. So other people can use it. If you're a therapist, you can actually give it to your patient to hold during the session, regardless of what therapy you're doing, because it's going to set up that scalar wave and potentiate and enhance what you're doing. So fantastic. So this is our number one solution, okay? And this is forever. And as I said, it's a sustained scalar wave. As you're walking around, as you're sleeping, wherever you are, you have this torsion field around you. And the feedback has been phenomenal. The clarity of thought, intelligent decision-making, ability to see into the future, go back into the past, calmness, balance. It's just reinforced by products such as the sulfur-containing nutrients. And these products are all on the 365 Healthy by Choice website. What does sulfur do? Sulfur is a massive detoxification element, one of the three main alchemical elements. And we find it in foods, especially the burny foods. So that would be rockets and garlic and onion and radish, mustard leaves. Very burny vegetables contain a large amount of sulfur. And sulfur is responsible for detoxification, which is going to aid and assist the liver. Now, if we break it down into pieces, we have glutathione here. And I've put the prices of the products in for today's lecture so that you can also get a feel of, you know, what's in your budget and what you'd like to do to take steps towards warding off not only radiation. The detox is going to detox your body also from chemicals and environmental toxins, food additives. It just boosts the body. So glutathione is our first one. Glutathione is made up of 3 proteins. This information is all on the 365 website. In fact, even more than what I'm sharing with you today. So we have glutathione on its own. We also have glutathione plus Phyto C. Reason for that is that vitamin C, although our Phyto C's got 12 antioxidants, it's high in vitamin C, but all antioxidants anyway. Glutathione, the three amino acids, is a very powerful master antioxidant for the body. And it's activated by vitamin C. So we've got 2 options for you, really. The glutathione 60s or 30s. So the 60s would mean you're getting 1,000 milligrams a day, because you would take 2 capsules a day. If you bought the 30s, you would be taking 1 capsule a day, which will be giving you 500 milligrams a day. That's a really, really nice dose, pure 100% pure glutathione, the 3 amino acids. If you took the glutathione plus the phyto C 60s, you would still be getting 500 milligrams of glutathione plus 500 milligrams of phyto C, which is, as I said, 12 antioxidants, including the C, which is a fantastic boost for the liver. And an antioxidant will also clear away free radicals. So an oxidant will clear away free radicals, so will an antioxidant. So here we're talking about antioxidant treatment here. So you have that option. The phyto C 30s, you'll be getting half. You'll be getting 250 milligrams of glutathione pure per day plus the antioxidants. So that's just a help, and it's a guide. You could also buy the 60s and spread it out over 2 months, which is the most cost-effective way of getting the glutathione. Now, glutathione has shown to not only assist the liver in detoxification, but also eliminates the graphene oxide, which is part of the nanoparticle and part of the vaccinations. So I think that's why people are reaching out for the glutathione. And I mean, just a commercial point, of course, they've hiked the price of glutathione. So it's probably one of the most expensive products right now to buy. Just a heads up on that. So I would get hold of some of this, because also stock levels, you don't want to be really caught short. And then the best thing would be is to come to 365 Healthy by Choice and get a baseline assessment, so we can tell you the level of glutathione in your body. Is it too high? Is it already, or is it too low? Is it moderate? And then we can also give you a guided adjustment to the dosage that you specifically need. And then, along with eating the foods that are high in sulfur, we can then potentiate the effects. So point number 1 was a sustained scalar wave torsion field to ward off negative aberrant forces, including radiation, bringing in sulfur-containing amino acids, master antioxidants. And then we also use MSM salt, which is methyl sulfonyl methane. You can see the sulfur part there. And also to detox. It's one of the most impressive anti-pain, anti-inflammation products, as most cost-effective on the market. It's natural. Actually, the bacteria, freshwater bacteria, the algae, as part of their respiration process, will release the MSM, which goes up to the clouds in form of precipitation and comes back down to the earth. And then also it's got also from the paper mills, where we actually get a liquid, which is the DMSO. And the DMSO is actually the tree sap coming out of the plant, coming out of the wood. So totally structured, almost containing both of them, natural almost, and they have the sulfur too. So these products are used to keep our blood thin as well. So there's twofold. The MSM and the DMSO is to keep the blood thin, but also to provide the sulfur for detox. So absolutely fabulous. You see, I would incorporate a little bit of all of this, because why not? They're doing so many other things as well, and relatively inexpensive. Just to move on a bit, now we're looking at our third option, which is the paramagnetic rock dust. And this is important because it's already magnetized. It's got cosmic radiation. When you consume it, you can then connect, and you can go and Google and research this with the cosmos, with the magnetic fields in the universe, the morphogenic fields. So it gives you sharper contact, sharper connection, and clarity and detoxification, because it will attract the wrong magnetic charged matter in your body. It will magnetically attract it and detoxify you and alkalinize you. It also attracts uric acid, anything with the wrong charge, the wrong magnetic charge in particular. So we're using this to pull out the radiation charges, the radiation spin that's in the wrong spin, heavy metals, etc., including the graphene oxide. It will also pull out parasites, chemicals, environmental toxins. So it's a very, very important part of your toolkit to detoxify. And really also inexpensive. A lot of these things, as I say, are everyday, and they are inexpensive. Then not to forget the liver, because we spoke about that. It's the number one organ, and that's where the liver needs glutathione. So when we were talking about glutathione before, remember, it's a huge support for the liver because of the sulfur and the MSM and the DMSO. So we have our own liver cleanse and restore, which has got schizandra berry in it already. We have schizandra berry on its own as well. And the liver cleanse has also got a whole host of other herbs and superfoods that work on clearing the liver and bringing in also the liver's ability to manufacture the glutathione, the enzymes that are necessary to manufacture the glutathione, because we can do it within us. We use the amino acids within our body to do that. So that's very, 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 very important. A liver cleanse is very, very important. You can see from the man I told you right in the beginning. His liver was blocked, his lymph was blocked, and he couldn't detoxify himself. So he just started accumulating toxins. And then lying in the hospital, of course, he accumulated the mycoplasma, he accumulated the fungus, systemic funguses, many of them engineered, which are not able, the hospitals are not able to treat these. And then the mycoplasma and the fungus grows even more over the lung mucous membrane, blocking the ability to absorb oxygen even further. It really is a downward spiral. So we want to avoid this. We want to bring in as much antioxidants, as much oxidants as we can, a sustained scalar wave, paramagnetic products, alchemical ormus, for example. I'm going to get to that in a moment. And then we have a protection field. And I've lectured on this many, many times, so it's easy to do. All right, and then here we've got one of the main products that wards off radiation. Schizandra berry also does it, by the way. It doesn't only cleanse, it also wards off radiation, but iodine will definitely do it. Also very, very important for every single hormone receptor site in the body, the thyroid. You do get iodine in kelp, however, you need to take quite a lot of it. So we do have a chelated iodine, which we use. We get really, really high levels. We don't use any liquid iodine at all. In fact, I've yet to see it really have any direct beneficial effects. So iodine was one of those products that was conveniently removed off the medical registers and usage protocols. It is fundamental to our health. It kills parasites on impact. And then, of course, it has this massive warding off of radiation. So we need to have a schizandra berry, we need to have an iodine. These products will ward off radiation for us. You see, we always look at things holistically. And then we see the values just shoot down like I showed you. It's a combination, potentiation. 1 + 1 is 3. All right, and we've got our famous ormus gold. And gold is the biggest detoxifying element on the planet. So this will help detoxify our organs, remove toxicity, but very, very importantly, for example, the example I told you about today, it's a capacitor, it's an energy capacitor. So taking ormus gold, you're going to raise your voltage. So in other words, if you've got your 2 electrodes in the beaker, you want it to turn the light on, ormus gold has got the right mineral structure to charge those 2 electrodes to put the light on. So it's going to put our light on. It's like plugging in your cell phone to the wall socket. The ormus gold is an energy capacitor. It raises our voltage. Okay. Very, very important product. And then we also got smaller bottles as well, so you can choose your size. And then we've got the RNA DNA replica. It works together with ormus gold. The ormus gold allows the chromosome to unwind and wind up again slowly, perfectly. But if we don't have the building blocks, the RNA DNA building blocks, the 5 nuclear proteins, uracil, guanine, adenine, cytosine, thymine, if we don't have them in the body because we're not eating liver and brain and kidneys and stuff anymore, or we're not having fermented foods or marmite or very high in beans and so on, or if there's an excessive amount of radiation, which means we're using up the little amount of nuclear proteins that we do have, we're not going to be able to wind up that DNA strand properly, and there will be still SNPs, and that means disease. All right, so we want to make sure we've got a store of the right nuclear protein so that we can repair damage. The almost gold is giving us a chance to unravel the chromosome, and the DNA is coming in and binding where necessary, and then it rolls up again together. So it's absolutely critical to restoring the human genome. And this is what, radiation and all these toxins are really affecting. It's affecting our human genome, which is right in the middle, the chromosome, right in the middle of the nucleus of every single cell, and part of the original process for that cell to divide. And this is happening billions of times every second. We're getting cell division. So we want it to be perfect, otherwise there will be disease. Once there's enough of the wrongly coded chromosome, DNA, mRNA, there's disease. So we want to be able to throw out the wrong code and reestablish the human genome, the human genetic code. This is really what I'm about. It's really what I'm about at the end of the day. And then we have consciousness. Our DNA, our chromosome, it's the seat of consciousness, working with a clean pineal gland, which is what a scalar wave will do, which is what iodine will do, which is what almost gold, replica, RNA, DNA, liver cleansers, and so on. And even a decalcification product like our Chanca-Piedra is aiming to have this crystal clear pineal gland and the rest of the cells of the body as maximized health as possible. Then I've got one other thing to show you is the infrared sauna. And sauna is a remarkable thing. There's the Swedish sauna where the temperature gets really high, and then there's an infrared sauna, which is normally between actually around about 45 to 50, a little bit 52 degrees maybe. You sweat a lot, but you have an infrared wavelength. Remember, I showed you the slides earlier where we looked at the different wavelengths. So we're working in the invisible spectrum of the sun, perfectly natural. It's potentiated, and it penetrates the skin, the body, by 4 centimeters, removing free radical damage, removing chemical toxins, environmental toxins, thick lymph, protein that hasn't been digested, parasites, pathogens, spirochetes. And so really, lifting the lid off that barrel of toxins and shooting them all out. And, in this way, we can really detoxify the body. And furthermore, its effect on the skin and the sunburn and the effects of radiation directly on our skin are also healed in an infrared sauna. So it's too amazing. It basically returns the skin almost, the feel is that of a baby skin. It's too incredible. So I find this really a potential to really potentiate everything else. The piezoelectric time crystal, the almost replica, the liver cleansers, the paramagnetic rock dust, the iodines, all working together. There's other products that will also ward off radiation, and one is cilantro, coriander. But just bear in mind that it needs to be grown in organic soil without chemicals, because of its appetite to absorb chemicals and toxins and so on. If it's grown in that kind of soil, you will be putting the heavy metals back into your body. So do grow your own, even if it's in pots. Okay, so infrared detox is very, very important, and really, at $20 time, I think we can do a Monday to Sunday monthly program, quarterly program, 6 monthly, annually program, and put into that program your detoxification plan. So we're wanting to detox from all sorts of things. Today I'm focusing specifically on radiation, as you know. All right, and here's another lovely thing, is our earthing. You can just see those feet soaking up all the beautiful negative electrons from the earth. The more damp the earth, the seashore, the wet sand, the quicker you're going to absorb electrons. But you don't overabsorb, so your body will only take what it needs. For example, your scalar wave will be your scalar wave. It can increase in spin, but again, to a point, depending on your evolutionary phase. Okay. And similarly with the earth, you will only absorb the electrons that you need. It's important to absorb electrons because of the pH, the acidity of our blood needs to be 7.4. And if we're living in a radiation cloud, a chemical toxin cloud, environmental toxin cloud, food additive cloud, genetically modified cloud, we're in the positive. It'll be positively charged. The atmosphere is positively charged. So we need to do whatever we can to bring in as many electrons as we can. That's what an antioxidant does. It will bring in as many electrons as possible. So earthing is absolutely critical. Here's what we have, our solution for people who are working inside offices 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but inside offices and inside their homes 24/7 and not ever touching the earth. We have our earthing mats here, small, medium, and large. Comes together with a wrist strap. So you put it around your wrist while you're driving, or one person has the mat, one person has the wrist strap, because we have a splitter. So it's a 2-in-1 in that it's a wrist strap and the earthing mat. So 2 people can use it at any one time, or you can separate it and use the wrist strap in your car only, use the mat only while you sleep at night, put the mat under your computer. It's not going to block the rays of the computer, but it's going to set up an EMF field. So an EMF field is more physical. It's more as opposed to a scalar wave. Okay, so scalar wave is the pendant, is the time crystal device. The EMF protection field is, as I said, it's voltage measured with a voltmeter, but the mat is not setting up a scalar wave, it's setting up an EMF shield. Very different. You can read about this in the Clint Oberholzer book on earthing, and I do advise you to read that book because you'll understand why I've put all of this together. All right, so some things work in a scalar wave, which is the ultimate quantum scalar wave. The products almost they all have almost in them as well, and they're working in a scalar wave. Whereas the earthing mat is going to block the megahertz fields. Okay, so that's the difference. And then we also have the cell vitality oxymineral drops as well. And those work as an oxidant, and they will go and scavenge any free radical lonesome electrons. So an antioxidant will go and bind those electrons because it's got free electrons to give. So it will neutralize the toxin, whereas an oxidant like our cell vitality drops will go and take the electron envelope off all those free radical electrons and open it up, and all the content spew out, all rendered inactive. So oxygen is corrosive. Cell vitality mineral, oxyminerals, it's corrosive. It will go and pull out off the electron envelope of all the free radical, free spinning electrons, rendering it inactive. And the stable molecule can then be eliminated. So those are also on the website. They are enough for 2 months. There's 2 little bottles and there's enough for 2 months. So, that's very, very, very useful. And really, really brings in the magic. So when we're using the sulfur products, I'm just gonna flick through these slides again, just to remind us and to summarize. We want to get the blood open. We want a zeta potential. We don't want sticky blood. We don't want blood clots. How are we going to do this? Apart from eating raw whole foods and drinking water. All right, we're going to have a scalar wave protection. We're going to have products with sulfur inside them, all on the 365 Healthy by Choice website. Okay. The glutathione's the big gun because it's got the 3 amino acids in it. Paramagnetic rock dust with the zeolite, we talked about that. The liver support, liver cleanse, Schizandra berry, we talked about. Schizandra berry also warding off radiation. Iodine warding off radiation, also killing parasites on impact. The ormus gold, the alchemy, the gold, and the other minerals, precious metal minerals, detoxifying the body in an alchemical way. It doesn't require the liver, but it helps repair the liver. The RNA, DNA working together to restore the human genome. The effect of an infrared sauna on us to remove free radical damage wherever it might be, whatever the cause is, and restore the skin from sunburn. And then the earthing to restore our electron balance, and then the mats. So, and then we've got the oxidant, the cell vitality oxyminerals. And then last but not least, I thought I would just reintroduce you to the RNA, DNA, gene, and chromosome course. It's a 1-hour course. You book it, it's online, and it's $30. And this is kind of what you're going to discuss. You'll be studying. It's much more than what I've mentioned today about the human genome, cell biology, the nucleus, how it all gets put together, how the division happens, factors affecting the division. You walk through an X-ray machine. Don't think you've just walked through nothing. You've actually walked through something to stop that cell division or altered it. Of those billion per second of X-rays, of cell divisions that are happening. The nourishment, how we can potentiate the development of our RNA and DNA, nuclear proteins, the replica I told you about, phytonutrients, how the antioxidants help, free radical damage, the role also of cell vitality oxyminerals, and then really enhancement of the human species. So for those of you who are interested in this course, I'm going to take it actually, and I'll put it on the chat in a moment. And there is our website where you can go right now and work out for yourself intuitively what you need to protect yourself, to protect your own human genome. Take the leadership. Don't follow something else. Take a guided leadership, which I've tried to do this evening, is to share with you really on point ways to clear the way, detoxify the body, and bring in maximized health. So I'm just going to stop sharing there and come back to all of you here. And then on the chat, I'm going to put that's the course. And then all right, and then the questions that are here. So to answer the question about glutathione, it has 3 amino acids which are all very high in sulfur, the sulfur molecule. And it occurs and it's synthesized naturally in the body. Sometimes the body can't keep up with the toxicity level. So it gets used up and the body needs more. So right here and now, what we're doing is giving the body a bit of a lift with naturally occurring amino acids and raising the glutathione level as quickly as possible to prevent damage. So ultimately, you want to get your body in a homeostasis where you're producing what you need. But with the avalanche of toxicity, the strength of the toxins right now, we've got to start bringing in certain things to restore the homeostasis and then see what we can do to potentiate the body in the homeostasis to maintain these levels. So one of the amino acids is cysteine, very high in sulfur. And then, then you would find it. So pure glutathione means pure 3 pure amino acids. remember also we need glutathione enzymes to activate the enzymes. And, you get that in the phyto-C. That's why I've combined the two. You will get loads of antioxidants, including vitamin C, plus enzymes, naturally occurring enzymes. So triphala, I mentioned it before briefly, which is a wonderful blood conditioner, including gut as well, but it will keep the red blood cells open. That's 3 enzymes, and that will also activate any enzymatic pathway in the body. So that's a great question. And then Vanessa, which is advisable, almost gold or replica? So they're completely different things. All right. Replica RNA DNA contains the 5 naturally grown nuclear proteins, the uracil, guanine, thymine, adenine, and guanine. You don't find that in almost gold. Almost gold is a substance that is a very, very high frequency. You find it in spring water. You find it in tree sap. You find it in DMSO. You'll find it in organically grown and naturally grown blue-green algae, all my products. The products we put in the liver cleanse, the products we put in our stem cells, they're all naturally grown with naturally occurring ormus. So the ormus gold we will make completely naturally, and that's going to come in and charge the body. You see, a replica RNA is not going to charge the body. Okay, it's going to help rewire the human genome and stabilize it, so that we're replicating the right genetic code. The ormus gold is going to come and unravel the genetic code, the DNA, and allow it to wind up again properly. We bring the RNA in so that we make sure that when those spokes in the wheel of the helix, when they wind up, the proteins match. Because if you don't have the protein building blocks, you won't be able to, the spikes won't be able to close. So you're going to have what they call a snip, and then it's the disease. So they have to work together, I'm afraid. Yeah. Oh, the course, there's no evaluation, there's no certificate. It's a 1-hour course on RNA, DNA, chromosomes, and genes. It's for you to learn from. So there you go. You'll get a certificate from 365 Healthy by Choice to say you've completed the course. But that's it. It's a 1-hour course, and I really urge you to get involved with that. The people that have done it have loved it. And, the price I brought right down as well, because I really feel this is valuable information. So I think in terms of part 2, I just wanted to highlight specific things again and show you what products are available and price-wise, so that you can look at your budgets and see, well, you know what, I understand. And everything I mentioned is part of a jigsaw puzzle. It's all... it's not really either or. We kind of need all of it. We need to earth. We should really sauna, because it's doing wonderful, wonderful things. The sustained scalar wave. And it's all about prevention, rather than waiting too late. Now, the poor gentleman I spoke about earlier is not aware of any of this. In fact, he even had COVID in February. So he had the COVID, it never cleared properly. 10 years ago, he actually had cancer of the lymphatic system, and he never addressed it. For 10 years, he never addressed it. Then he got COVID in February, and health declined until hospital admission. See, so let's not get to that point. Let's help the people that we know and who want to move with us. Let's enable them to move with us. Not everybody's going to, because they're going to be like him. We don't want to wait for when it's too late. We really don't. But again, you can take the horse to water, you can't make a drink. So you're not going to be able to force people. And I think always be the living example yourself. where people will come and ask you also, how do we do this? How do we fix this? How do we rebalance? So our mission is to restore the body as quickly as possible, and constantly follow prevention, and just be aware of what causes free radical damage, what damages our cells, our nucleus, our DNA, our RNA. And this radiation is very powerful. So we should really sleep with our phones off or on airport mode down the passage. I always say as far away from you as possible. Put the Wi-Fi off at night. Very, very important and critical. Wi-Fi in your homes. Sleep on an earthing mat. Those of you who are in sleeping where there's many other dwellings close to you in an apartment or whatever, you put on your computer, you'll see there'll be about 13 or 14 cell phones that are literally hammering in on you 24/7. How can you sleep properly? You need an earthing mat to help your body ward it off. You need a time crystal to ward this avalanche of negative EMF out of you. I remember my hairdresser used to be in a big shopping center in Johannesburg, and I take my work with me when I go there, and I turned it on one day. There were definitely 13. There were 13 Wi-Fis coming in. I was sitting there having my hair done, getting blasted by 13 Wi-Fis. In addition to the cell phones of all the people, the customers in the shop, my own cell phone, that's huge damage to the body. So Vanessa's saying that over a period of time, she's taken the 365 Healthy Bite products week after week, month after month, and she's built up a sustainable base strength within her body, sustainable immunity, a good a red blood cell, a good blood profile, strong white blood cells. The white blood cells need to be huge. They need to be big and active and being able to detoxify us. So if you do that and you build a strong base, should you be exposed to an abnormally high amount of toxins or radiation or parasites or whatever, your body will enable you to recover much quicker. I think that's probably a good parting message as well, is to get ourselves in a position where we can ward off these infections, radiation or whatever. So thanks for that message, Vanessa. Yes, absolutely. All right, so with that, I'm going to close, and I hope I've given you some more information. Go and have a look on the website. There's much more. There's little video clips against each product. There's product information. There's dosages. And, take the essence out of what we've mentioned and think clearly and live productively, Thank you so much. I'll be back next week.